Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a historical day for me. It is literally 10 years in the making. If you would have told me where I would be right now, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I would have told you that you were nuts and to get the fuck away from me. Plain and simple. I would have told you, just get the hell out of my face because I would not believe it. In the past, I've kind of dropped hints about my past, my curiosity within spiritualism, how I was visited at age 5 from Lucifer, and the first demons that I was associated with. But what's also interesting is that I kept getting invited to churches, and I never stayed there because I never liked them. I never fucking liked them. I always thought they were, how should I say this, full of duality, hypocrisy, and slavery. Literally, hands down. I never cared for them. And there was just something about them that made my flesh crawl. So, roughly '09, '10 area, I met an individual who invited me to their church. And I thought it was kinda cool. It wasn't your everyday church. It was one of those ones that was very upbeat. Very upbeat. I mean, at least it used to be until, the pastor and all that and his family moved away, and then that music career just went, "Ah!" Okay. So, it was kind of amusing to see just how dull that music just came, that how it became. Well, we were sitting there because I gave the man this event, how should I say this? Evangel I'm sorry, I'm excited here. I'm trying to find the words because just like I said, it's a big day for me. Now, what's interesting is this evangelical type minister. He made me give him my word for 3 years, and I gave him 3 years. And trust me, those 3 years were hell on earth. Okay. This was during this time I met with extreme hatred, bigotry, even political and spiritual discrimination, if you will. It wasn't just by the youth or by the elderly or by any age group that you can think of. It was more of the fact that it was just about everybody. Up front, they were welcoming, but then they realized you're not walking away from your path. So we're going to belittle you. We're going to hate you. We're going to do everything in our power to come at you. So we were sitting around a campground one night. All the women were with his wife, and all the guys were with him. And we're in two different campers. And it was interesting because this man put forth a very distinctive question to me. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you want to be? With me, when he got to me, I didn't have an answer. You know, I I'll tell you right up front, I did not have an answer. To this point, I was just happy being a Satanist, a warlock, a practitioner of baneful magic. You know, I was happy with my stature working with demons, fallen angels. You know, I was very happy like that for many, many years. So when he got to me, everybody else had their answers of where they want to be. And when it got to me, I just did not have a fucking answer. And I didn't realize it at the time, but he had taken notice that I was good with people. I did my homework on every single topic you can think of. And this evangelist at the time, like I said, he, he looked right at me and he said, "Have you ever thought about becoming a minister? You definitely have the faith, just not in the beings that I'd be, well, liking that you know what I'm saying, are into, but more of what I'm into." He was not happy with the fact that I worshiped and was working with Lucifer, that I was working with Astaroth, that I was working with Beelzebub and Lucifer's Raphael and many, many other demons from the Goetic, the Goetic system of demonology. So, but I honored my word 3 years, ended up giving him 4 years just for shits and giggles. And I ended up going down to Tucson, Arizona. I ended up going to Texas, Clarksville, Texas. And believe me when I tell you, I didn't know how radical zealots are until I got to Clarksville, Texas. But I made some friends down there. I made some friends within the ministry, and we've actually stayed in touch off and on. I haven't talked to him for a long time, but he's Mike Smith was the guy's name, and he is a pastor, or at least he was last time I talked to him, out of Mount Pleasant, Texas. I have a friend up here who's a pastor that is up in Old Town. And it's interesting how many people you earn respect from when you have extreme faith in who you are and what you do, especially when you know what you're doing. So when I came to Maine, I was an ordained minister. Basically, the definition of this is called a deacon, okay, within the JCI. And I'm going to speak to you in this form because I believe it fits because it's something that a lot of people resonate with, especially if you're into Satanism, because of the fact that it's considered to be reverse Christianity. It is, you know, it's reversed Catholicdom, basically. And don't get me wrong, I am not a fan of the Judo-Christian institutions. I am not. No other no other amount of blood has been spilled by any other name than their God and their fascist zealots. I mean, look around. They control everything from funeral homes to chapels and churches to street ministry, and they dictate through their elders uh, if you get to preach there, if you get to be a minister there. So I didn't really care for that. I'll tell you that right now. So I ended up doing my thing, and before long, I ended up having a nice, good sized following. People that actually liked what I do as an educator, and some of them actually found me to be pretty cool. Others, they hate my guts, keep their distance. but you're going to find that wherever the hell you go. You're going to make enemies, you're going to make friends, you're going to make allies. And so I ended up getting a job at Tractor Supply, and I met this employee that out of the blue, she looked at me. We were talking one day about paganism and European traditions, and all of a sudden, she turned around and looked right at me and said that she saw me as an elder. An elder. It's like, great, okay, I can accept that. I mean, I am older, so I mean, respect your elders. you know. So, anyways, as I'm saying, so I ended up leaving Tractor Supply and I ended up going to work for Dunkin' Donuts. And it was I thought it would be easier and allow my body to heal from the injuries that I sustained at Tractor Supply, but no, didn't really work out that well, but I was healing. So I ended up finding out there was a new metaphysical shop just across the bridge. And I ended up going over there and I introduced myself to the owners of this shop. And they brought up this girl from Tractor Supply. And it's like, seriously? I can't go anywhere without being noticed, you know? And next thing I know, Facebook changes my title to Black Pope. And it's like, what the hell? I'm nowhere near that level. There's only one Black Pope, and that was Anton Zandala Bay. Okay? Hands down, no one can replace that man. And the knowledge and wisdom, and dare I say it, sanaz, okay, that he had. So back in 2013, I ended up going for my certificate in pastoral, and I passed. I became a pastor. Basically, I became a magus, okay, within satanic terms. But outside of that, it is equivalent to an ordained minister, okay? And I have been an ordained minister ever since. But I have been going through schools over the last few years and doing a lot of extra learning, a lot of extracurricular activities. And this is all behind the scenes of all the videos I was putting forth here on my YouTube channel, on Facebook, Instagram, um, and now these days I have a TikTok and a Timber account along with a MeWe account. Personally, I don't get on the MeWe account that often because I just don't understand that app. I really don't. So, um, anyways, back in November, 22nd of November of 2011, this was my very first certificate when I became a deacon. Okay. And this was when I became a ordained minister. Okay. So as of today, ladies and gentlemen, I passed the bar exam. Wasn't 100%, but it was up there. I believe it's an A minus if that degree still goes in school these days. I don't know how the teachers grade. But as they put it, I am now officially an archbishop. An archbishop. Basically meaning that other bishops can come to me and for advice, wisdom, clarity, and all that fun stuff. Especially guidance. And at first I wasn't sure how to think about this or even how to feel about it. But on the way home, I can tell you right now that I'm excited. It's a new chapter in my life. It's a new title, which I'm going to have to get used to. And no, I am not going to have you kiss my ass, just saying. And yes, I'm putting that out there because I'm not a Catholic. I am not a Christian. I am a practicing necromancer, a warlock, and I always will be. Okay. But as I stated in an old video a few weeks back, I've been doing a lot of thinking about bishops, traditions such as Satanism has dark bishops. What is a dark bishop? How can a dark bishop? How do you become a bishop? And I started delving into the canon laws. I started going into the federal laws, all the guidelines, both national and international. And the more I read about this, the more it spoke to me. So I applied for it and I started doing the courses. And guess what? I passed. I passed. Yes, I'm excited. Is it boostful or prideful? Probably, but only a small amount. Okay, just a small amount. Um, a title is just a title, and yes, I work with Beelzebub, but I also work with Belial. Belial is the demon king who bestows titles and senatorships. So I got to give a shout out to King Belial from the Nine Infernal Kings. Thank you, my lord. Blessed be. I am grateful for your attention. So I put this in front of the spirits that I work for, and I put this in front of the demons and just about anyone who was willing to guide me. Is this something for me? And like I've always said, if it is for me and mine, then I want it, and if it is not for me and mine, then I don't want it. Well, this turns out to be something that I wanted, and it turns out that it's something that's good for me and my family. Now, there are things that I can do with this. I could start a church. I can, because most bishops run what is known in the Catholic circles as dioceses, archdioceses, and but I don't want to go that route, or at least not yet. Anyways, I don't know how I would open up go about, especially in this area. Do I want to do that in this area and create an organization, a temple, a church, whatever for necromancers, warlocks, witches, and to belong to? I don't know. I know a lot of people have been asking the question through my messenger. One of the common things is, are you going to do a Patreon account? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that and create like a following, a coven? And it's like, I've already said, I'm not going to do a coven. When my brothers, John Saunders and John Ramos, passed away, that left me and John Ramos's wife, my satanic sister, as the last of our coven. They both died from various different implements of natural causes. The amount of energy dispelled, that was not natural. But like I said, people have been asking me, where am I going to go? What do I want to do? And one of the things that I have been noticing a lot on is I'm no longer interested in worldly things. I'm really not. I am interested in spiritual, anything of the spiritual. I am a devotee of Santa Morte. I am a devotee to the Orisha, Oya, to Baron Samedi the Loa, the Radha spirit. And as a practitioner of Pero Mayambi, Santeria, and Brujeria, not just Haitian Boudan, which are the systems I've been really hitting heavily over the last year, and really gaining respect for these spirits, working with them within a form of a devotee, a disciple. One thing that kept popping out to me was the different levels of priesthood. And those of you who are in Facebook groups that I'm into and you've seen the essays that I put forth over the last 5 years, from the feared art of necromancy, the original one, to the crossroads and to the spirits. Okay. I recently finished, as of about a month or so ago, I finished my fourth essay and sent it to Edgar Cabal to be published. And this one here was literally on the priesthood, and you have over 4,000 words on the priesthood. And the latter half was actually in honor of the Indonesian people, specifically their practitioners of shamanism. And I'm talking about the Dukan. Because when I delved into this system and started learning about Sintet, the different types of practices that go along with this is something that I respect. These people and what they endured back during the massacres of 1998, through the persecutions, the fear. They had their witch trials, their burning times, except for in this case, it wasn't just legal, it wasn't just spiritual, through the church, but it was also due to independent rioters that murdered roughly about 130 to 180 Dukan practitioners. And this is back in 1998. So you can't tell me that this stuff does not keep going on. I mean, even I know this through my latest job, and working as a dietary aide in the kitchen at a long-term living center, which is basically assisted living. Which, from what I understand from my better half, is two different types of facilities. To me, a nursing home is a nursing home. That's all I gotta say. But respect your elders. I know. So, anyways, like I said, 4,000 words in that fourth essay to be published in one of his books, and it sets me up for the actual practices, which is going to be awesome. So, do I want to put out a book? Maybe someday. When is it going to be anytime soon? Probably not, because of where my research has been taking me and how long it takes me to delve into the purity of each system, not just being you know engulfed in its practices and working with these spirits on individual levels. In Haitian Boudan, I work with Papa Gedi and I work with Baron Samedi and a couple others that I'm not going to mention because I don't have permission to do so. But I work with Oya from the Orisha system, and the Orisha system goes into the other three that I mentioned: Brujeria, Santeria, both Palo and Mayambi. Uh, Palo Monte and Mayambi. But lately, I've been really delving back into the roots of demonolatry and really getting in touch with the spirits of my satanic background. And the thing I like about Bujeria is, and I really feel connected to this as a necromancer, because you can fit into so many different religions and cultures just in this one type of practice, and I really like it. I have really benefited through necromantic rites and rituals and working with spirits of various kinds. So yes, I am more spiritual today. Would I classify myself as a zealot? Nowhere's near that. Am I committed, dedicated, and right up there within in my devotion to these spirits? Yes, and I lean forward that way more than I do this way. But as we all know, at once you become clergy, elders of covens, traditions, you are an emissary between the people and the spirits. If you go back into the old world, guess what? What do you think practitioners of the arts were? Shamans, practitioners of witchcraft lived on the outskirts of town, if not out in the boondocks, the boonies. You know, they were highly feared and respected. This is European. Once you get into African-based cultures such as the Ashi or the Aji, the Ashin, you know what I'm saying? Then these people were literally held in high esteem, and their huts were right next to the king of that village. So it comes down to your viewpoints, on the tradition of which you practice. So when I say that you become an emissary, residing over numerous types of rites, being a counselor, being somebody who marries people, who commits hand fastings, which is another term for marriage. Those that do funerary rites. You know, all of this comes with your stature as priests and priestesses. You are no longer about yourself, but more about the spirits and the people. And the thing is I feel like most people don't grasp this, especially when they become ordained, because it's more about the title and importance to them. Whereas for me, I look at it as I'm serving the spirits that I work with. I'm serving these old gods that I work with. I am an emissary of theirs. Do I have my family to take care of? Yes. Do I perform rites and rituals for others? Yes. In fact, I was contacted by a sister this morning, or earlier today, I should say, because it's now 10 minutes of 7 p.m. where I am. Is she contacted me last year? I did an amulet, a talisman, a phylactery, if you will, all in one. And this was a phylactery, a dark totem of protection for her because of the route that she has to go to work, that she goes on vacation. And she wrote to me today and to check in and say, "Hey, how you doing? I carry that phylactery everywhere. I am so grateful for that because it has literally saved my bacon." And I'm using my own terminology here, by the way, because I don't speak female. Um, just saying. I probably could if I, worked with some of the spirits on that. But my point is that this phylactery has gotten her out of trouble so many times. It has protected her so many times. And I made this for her from scratch. And to see how she still carries this thing every time she leaves the house. Anytime she goes south of the border. It's and how it's still working to this day. And to see how it has benefited her, that is what makes this worth it. So me passing this exam and becoming an archbishop, yeah, it's my next step. Now on my personal journey. Like I said in past videos, your learning never stops. Your evolution and self-mastery never stops. You gotta be the ones to decide for yourselves where you wanna go, what you wanna be, and how you wanna represent. Me, I'm a dark archbishop. I'm an archbishop, man. Whew. Wow. That's gonna take a moment to get over. But like I said, I wanted to put this out there and say, hey, titles change. They come and they go. Earn your way so you are not a burden to others. And most importantly, be true to yourself and the spirits. Whatever you preach, always back it up and make yourself available to the public. That's what I've done since 2013. You know, I started teaching right here on YouTube 14 years ago. 14 years ago, I started on a cell phone. A cell phone, ladies and gentlemen. And now I have a laptop. Yeah, I got two, not one, but two SUV vehicles. 2016s, fully loaded. I'm talking backup cameras, half the fucking dials. I have no clue what they do. Yep, I'm old school. But yeah, see, this is what happens. This is what happens when you serve the spirits faithfully and true. So keep those horns up high, hold your titles close, and just don't forget evolution is a good thing. You gotta evolve, ladies and gentlemen. Master yourself. As I told an apprentice, master the mind, the body must follow. Okay? Whatever you get into, do a big old belly flop like you would in the pool. It's going to be painful. You're going to have your ups and downs. It's going to be times of trial, traversity, even. And you know what? When you stand firm, no one is going to move you from that platform unless you want to be moved. I've had my eye on evolution now for 5 years since coming into necromantic practices. Look at me now. I went from a deacon to a priest, an ordained minister, and now I'm an archbishop. And something else to contemplate on, I was going through my stuff and that my better half an hour cleaning out, and I found a certificate from back in 2000. Certificate of Award. This title is hereby presented to Moa for having participated in the Module 1 WPC Communication on Center. Not really sure what that is. I had forgotten about it, but I thought I'd share that one to you. And the title is Teacher. PJCC, Teacher. So I'm wondering what I did. I don't remember. That could have been the Adult Learning Center for all I know. Because I did go there for a short time. About a week, actually. Until I realized I wasn't going to get into CNA work. I suck at math. But yet I can do numerology like it's nothing. Figure that one out. But yeah, so that's the video, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank those of you who are watching it, who subscribe to this channel. I hope you like what you see, what you do, what I do. I also hope that you feel that you are learning from my channel and the work that I've been putting forth. Because one of the things I try to do is give you numerous different sources, references even, and not just talk about my own personal experiences. Because my intent is to help you learn. I'm not going to do the work for you, but my intent is to help you learn to grow and to mature within your systems. All right. And Okay. I don't know that language. That's one language I don't know. Is that French? Yeah, I think that's French. Nior. Yeah, thought it was. It's the one language I've never been able to learn. It's I don't know what it is about French. I can speak very little Spanish, Portuguese, Cuban, but when it comes to French, I could never pick it up. I could pick German up. I could pick Latin up, but French is one language I could never figure out. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way it comes off like silk. I don't know. I just could not wrap my tongue around it. I mean, I got maybe a sentence. That's it. Pontois s'il vous plaît. That's it. That's the extent of my French. So, uh, so yeah. And good evening to you too, my friend. Welcome to the channel. It's not very often I get somebody speaking to me in a different language. Normally, it's this computer is set up so it automatically translates for me when it's something that's not programmed in there. But other times, it's mostly English. So it's actually good to see French in here because I'd actually like to try to learn that at some point. So maybe that would be one of my next projects. I don't know. But yeah, but I do have to get off here. I've got to go meet my better half, who's also in school, by the way. She's actually getting a double major, by the way. I'm highly impressed with her enthusiasm. I am impressed with her initiate, her being an initiate within the system of medical fields. Because on one hand, she's going to be graduating as a MA, and on the other hand, she's going to be a phlebotomist. For those of you who do not know what a phlebotomist is, that is somebody who takes blood. Okay. And she is graduating soon, within a couple of months. Okay. In this field. And so she's going to have a double major, which I couldn't be more proud of her. When I first met her, she was a CNA. She was just a plain old CNA. Okay. And since then, I have watched her become certified in HBP. She has gotten a certificate in or a degree in computer coding, the medical coding and billing stuff. And now she's going for her MA and phlebotomy as well. I'm proud of her. Okay, that's all I got to say is I am proud of her. Okay, and um, and I'm doing the same. I'm going up the food chain with my education. Thanatology, anthropology, and as you can tell by this video, pastoral. I am an archbishop officially as of today. Woo! And when I get my certificate in the mail, I will be taking a photo of all three, well, technically all four of these certificates. Like I said, I'm not sure what that one from 2000's for. I'll have to look that one up in my records. But I will be showing you all four of them in a photo right here on my YouTube. All right. So keep those horns up, keep learning, keep growing. There is no limit to the levels of the heavens that you can to inspire to achieve. All right. Doesn't matter if you're going south of the border into Satan's kingdom or above to the blah 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 faction. Okay. So have a good one.